What's
Whee!
happening? We're still
Here.
here. We are here tonight. Everybody
Yeah, we
in,
are.
in Twitch land and Facebook land and now YouTube land
YouTube
is
land.
tuning
Welcome,
in.
YouTube lands.
Ah,
Hey, Gangstagrasses.
yeah.
Gangstagrassions. Oh, I just got a notification from YouTube that Gangstagrass is streaming live right now.
All right.
Swagger
Yes.
you,
Cool.
bitches!
There we go.
Well,
I'm just gonna make
well
sure
done,
that
YouTube.
the audio and video are all functioning like they're supposed to. Cause who
Video's
knows?
definitely coming through.
But what about the sounds?
Yep.
Cool.
You're watching this right now. You're currently confirming everything because
Awesome.
it's
Yeah.
to get on the live stream today.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, there it is. Yes. All right.
Oh, look at that.
And we're here to
Everywhere.
we're here to hang out on Friday night with the cool cats of our wonderful fans. So jump on into the chat and tell us what you want to talk about.
Let's talk about sex, baby.
No, Pharaoh, we're gonna let the fans decide what they want to talk about.
Well, good fans. And while they decide that, maybe we should go ahead and tell them what we're thinking about.
Yeah, there's a thing Pharaoh is very excited to talk about because it involves books.
Avocados! Oh, wait.
Right, germinating avocados.
Which I am doing right now. Look at this. Look at this guy. Cute little guy with a spot on him.
There you go.
Looks like a awkward areola. Anyways, so I want to talk about books. We've been floating this idea of starting a book club, and Wrench suggested a really cool book to me that I just got in the mail today.
Cool.
And I'm going to leave you guys to banter while I grab that book.
So this is a book called "This Is an Uprising," which actually was also brought up by a fan on in the chat on one of our other streams when we started talking about stuff that was relevant. And I've been down with this book for a few years, and I think it's going to be very cool for us to go through it little by little.
Yeah, I actually picked it up and started reading it this week.
I can't read, so
We're gonna read it to Randy.
yes. If there's pictures, I'm all about it. Nah, I'm kidding. Yeah, I do need to track that down. It sounds fascinating.
Here's the book.
Yeah,
And Wrench actually brought it up to me because the work I'm doing with the Moses Cemetery in Bethesda. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
It's a cemetery in Bethesda, Maryland. It used to be a cemetery. There used to be a black community in that area, and through some not so genuine means, that population was removed from the area, and what was left over was a cemetery. And they've since, built over a lot of it. Thank goodness a lot of it is built over with concrete, because at least we can go in and go under the concrete and recover those bodies. But part of the plot is being dug through by a construction company that wants to build a storage facility there. And there's been a lot of nefarious things going on from day one when they didn't decide to do an archaeological delineation of where this cemetery is, and to the fact that Montgomery County Planning Board is saying that the cemetery is in this one little parcel when they don't really know themselves. So I was talking about the different parties involved with this issue, and sometimes it's really hard to find the real righteous voice in some of these more granular local political fights. And I was bringing that up, and from me talking about that, Wrench was like, "You should read This Is an Uprising." Now, I haven't cracked open the book yet. That's where the conversation ended, but I was just like, "Ah, okay, I will do that." So let's make a book club out of it.
Yeah, we got a couple awesome people on the Twitch right now. Linda and Tanya are in the house.
Hey, what up, y'all?
So we're just bringing up this idea, and you can tell us about what you think about doing a little book club with Gangstagrass.
Pharaoh, here's what you should do. Let them build this storage facility, and then when they build it over the bodies, we all know it will be haunted.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Poltergeist storage facility. Boom.
The unfortunate thing is, like, the ghosts are gonna haunt it, and I don't think the protests are gonna stop either. So it's just gonna be a continuous haunting.
Exactly. Like, all right, Dave, that's what y'all want to do. Go ahead. I dare you.
People's old lamps and
Bunch of old black ghosts. Mad.
really scared couches and TV sets that people don't use anymore.
I'm telling you, it'll work. It'll work. It'll work. I'll try that.
So anybody saying anything in the comments? Anybody?
Yeah, Tanya said sign me up.
Yep.
Yeah, we're thinking about doing it as a Zoom conversation.
Mhm.
That's the initial plan. Although, of course, open to other thoughts on that. But seems like that'd be the easiest thing to organize. So if there's enthusiasm for it, which it looks like there is, we can set up a sign up. It'll probably be gangstagrass.com/book club.
Yeah, and I've noticed that like all of these different platforms, whether it's Zoom rooms or Facebook rooms or whatever, Microsoft Teams, if we wanted to create a team, like there are a lot of different platforms for these group conversations, and many of them are starting to add the functionality to then like turn that outwards. So we could broadcast the thing, like we can have the internal conversation, and then if we wanted to have like a 9 p.m. version, we could like share what we learned like right here. So it could kind of take any form.
It could take the form of Voltron.
It could.
It's already the form of Voltron.
Or it could take the form of either some sort of water-based item or an animal if it was the Wonder Twins.
Now that I'm okay with.
It could take the form of something green, but only something green.
Oh, wait, so what about when we initially discussed this, we talked about a book club, we also talked about an activity club. Is there some preference either way? Like, Pharaoh, you want to make sure we always read a book, or are you open to some other possibilities?
I like the activity club. I think it's a good activity to start with this book, especially given the climate of things, because I think there are a lot of activities that we'll probably have to involve ourselves
Activate.
Yes.
that we could launch off of this book with. So
T-Web in the Facebook chat just said, activate, which is delightful.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Okay, gangstagrass.com/activity club. The website does not exist right now. I would create it right this moment, but I'm afraid it will mess with my audio. I might do it. We'll see. It's possible that gangstagrass.com/activity club will be open by the end of this stream, but you can also rename it. We can totally rename it.
Right.
We got Martha out there. She's excited about it.
Oh shoot, I gotta.
Yo, if we had an activity club, what would we call it? Whoa, pitch that to the fans.
I guess it could be gangstagrass.com/activate.
Activity club.
Problem solved. Sometimes it just happens like that.
Move that over here.
That'd be a good
There
one.
we go.
Hashtag no time for enemies.
There we go.
It
Much
just
better.
be happening like that.
I just
Activate.
went downstairs to get my my copy.
Hey.
Hey, nobody
Oh,
should stop your Dan.
When I say my copy, I mean Wrench's copy. Sorry, Wrench.
I got
Thank
more. And I'll try to get them sent to other folks.
That's cool,
Wait.
man. I think it's always good when there's a book that you like that much that you're just like,
Yeah.
I'm going to get lots of copies just to make sure that everyone I know has a copy.
Yeah.
For me, that book would be Bone by Jeff Smith. I'm going to go get it, actually.
Yeah, tell us about
Mine
that.
is The Wisdom of Insecurity by Alan Watts.
Alan Watts in the house.
Yeah.
Wait, I walked
I'm going to step
which is-
further with mine.
What,
Go ahead,
what was it?
Basically a treatise on how the entire the omniverse is not certain. It's all insecure. So wanting to know what is going to happen, if you actually could know that, you'd be so bored you wouldn't really want it. It's a very tiny book, but it is dense, but in a beautiful way. What was your book, Dan?
Oh, it's right here. It is not tiny. It is dense and,
That is
and big old
There's
big.
a lot there.
Yeah, Randy knows it.
There's
Yeah.
a lot there.
You can't work in comics and not know about Jeff
Yeah.
Smith's Bone. Also,
Funny
as a-
story,
yeah.
I haven't read it.
I have a copy. I only have one copy, but you also work in a store.
Yeah.
But
I read
Yeah,
a few.
no, I bought it for my daughter. I've sold 100 copies of it.
Yeah.
Haven't read it.
I've read a few of the issues, the individual issues.
yeah,
but,
because remember they were out in issues, and I
Yeah.
remember as a kid in the '90s they went out in Disney Adventures. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember Disney
Yeah.
Adventures and
Uh-huh.
and little bits of Bone, and this breaks up into individuals quite well. But getting the complete volume like this is, oh, it's so good. It is just so good.
I just discovered that book that I've been sharing a lot because, I think this is the first time I bought a book, gave it to someone, and bought it again. 'Cause I usually just loan them out and I'll either forget about it or hunt you down and get it back. But Blackjacks. I
What's
gave my
that?
copy to my brother. He's also
Anybody else hearing an echo?
A little bit,
Dark
yeah.
Superman! Greatest
I
comic
heard-
of all time.
I hear it faintly.
I have this book in 4 different versions. I've got all 12 of the issues. I've got 2 of the trades. I've got the full trade, and then I have the they did an absolute version as well. I've got that one too. And I've sold 1,000 copies of this book, and every time I sold it, I told whoever was buying it, if you don't like it, I will personally buy it back from you. I have never brought back a copy. Ever. It's magnificent. Best thing I've ever heard. Grant Morrison, yeah.
Yeah.
I would have to suggest Wild Seed by Octavia Butler.
Yo, that's a good one.
Boy, some Octavia Butler.
In fact, I'd like to have a short conversation about that, Dolio.
There's no such thing as a short conversation about Octavia Butler.
Yeah.
Dude, we did a whole every year for the last 6 or 7 years, did an entire month on Black Triples dedicated to Octavia Butler. So yeah, there's no such thing as a short conversation.
What month is that? And
April. You missed the
April?
last one. You can go find all of them. All the episodes are up on blacktriples.com. You can find all of it. But yeah, we speaking of which, oh wait, I can't put this out yet. I'll talk to you guys about this later. But
No.
there's something that we're gonna have to do. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. Yeah, man.
So, real quick, I want to pitch this to y'all. Like, this is an activity club, and we're starting with this book. So, like, what activities are you guys interested in getting involved on?
Going out of the house.
Yeah.
That's
It'd
it.
be fun to have a little like a drawing session with people. We could do that for 10 minutes of the Zoom and then talk about the book or something.
A drawing session?
Yeah, just bring some paper and pens and everybody draw for 10 minutes and then show everybody what you drew or whatever. It's an activity.
I mean-
Also eating paste.
Right. He's right.
all watch the Sixers game together tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But
There's very little like here.
does it
There's
talk
very
about
little like.
peace in this book?
No. You want an activity that's related to the book?
I mean, given that we're starting with it, like,
Yeah, you're gonna have us planning the revolution there.
I mean, we can work on it though.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we're coming out with an album that aids the cause.
Hopefully.
No fully.
Hey, we put out this song "Freedom" a while back, and it's had a very positive response.
Yo, for real, y'all? I played this on a boat last night, and we were all jamming.
Yeah.
I went through the mixtape, and I gave a couple of people an exclusive of the new record. I'm sorry if I wasn't allowed to do that, but everybody loved it.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
You're not allowed to do it on land, but if you were in international waters, I think that's totally fair game.
You got pirate rules.
By the way, Melody on is in Twitch. She's in the house. She says she's in for eating paste with us. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The eating paste activity.
But I recall, when we were recording Freedom, we were like, man, this is this is going to be interesting to get out there and play for people publicly. But it's we didn't realize how right in line it would be with where things were already going. It's like probably when we recorded it, it was a little ahead of the curve, and now it's like barely keeping up. We're already kicking things off.
Yeah, we're a little behind, it would seem.
Well, the thing is, we didn't even expect that stuff to pop up like that when we did the song. Because, we ended up dropping it in June in the heat of thing, but we recorded that thing back end of January.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like we were recording in January being like, oh man, this is going to be crazy to put out for people, like play this to some of the places that we go and play. But it's been a very positive response though. I haven't seen like any big blowback from fans.
I want it though. I want somebody to be like, all right. So for the one person that asked the question, and I forget was it on you, or like, the whole, gonna take this axe and put it in your and plant it in your back thing, like, and having to explain the context of that. Like I'm okay with that. I'm like, what, ask the questions, say what you gotta say.
For sure.
And look, if there's gonna be blowback or whatever, sure, whatever, bring it. I don't care.
Has anybody gotten a real
What are you gonna
question?
do? I mean, we're gonna take the song down now.
Has anybody gotten a real question about like, it reminds me of when I would wear an American flag shirt on stage sometimes, and all the time I would get somebody come up to me and say, that's a cool shirt, but I would worry that somebody might find it offensive. But what I never got was somebody came up to me and said, I find that shirt offensive. You know what I mean? So I would imagine people be like, yo, that's a cool line, but aren't you worried that some people might find it offensive? But what I wonder is, has anybody in this band actually heard somebody say, oh, I don't know about that line. I personally find that offensive. Like, has anybody said that? Anybody?
Not that I've seen anywhere.
Yeah, I think there's been 2 instances of somebody just saying, "What's up with that line?" Like, what's the deal there?
Yeah.
And
what do you say?
After they were explained after the meaning of it was explained to them, they were just like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
Yeah, it has to do with it depends probably on if they're listening lyrically close enough to get that it's like the whole first verse is a plantation uprising, then it it's a little more clear. But if they weren't listening closely and then they're like, I'm going to take this axe and put it in your back, and they're like, huh?
Wait, what?
Question
Hold
is
on,
like,
wait.
Question is like, who's back? Are you talking about me? Like my back?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to largely be what's happening. That it's just once they have the context, whether that's through listening more carefully to the song or actually having it explained or reading one of the explainers that's been published so far, that
Or just
seems to
the
clear it
content.
up. Nobody so far, as far as I've seen, we haven't gotten any objections to the content once, from, but just sort of questions that followed by explanation. It's all good.
Yeah. And that kind of leads me to a broader question, which, like, we've talked a lot about, um, not just double meanings, but like triple meanings and just the layers of deeper meaning. Like, that's one of my favorite things about working with you guys is that, the lyricism that you bring in is really deep and fascinating. But if there's a but to that, like, maybe that's just like the one caveat, like that's the one pitfall is, of course, people aren't going to get everything the first time, which makes it rewarding for like listening back. But like, are there any other general examples of that? Like, you ever have somebody come up to you? Is there like one line that you have that people are always coming up to you and being like, "Yo, I just got that."
It's a
I
lot
have a
of
couple. Go ahead, Dick. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead because I know a bunch. We both of us write our stuff in layers. That's kind of like the mental advisory mantra. Excuse the echo. I'm changing floors, and it's intended to be layered. So the first time you hear it, you hear one thing, and then the next couple listens, you catch something different every time. But all of those meanings were intentional.
So I usually find myself just like catching different verses at different points and digging into those verses, and every time it's a treat. Every time it's a motherfucking treat.
One
Buddy.
moment that kind of blew me away about like one line from a verse, like really resonating with somebody that I guess I'll always remember, is when we did South by Southwest in whatever that was, 2012 or
Well, yeah.
and it's South by Southwest, so it's going on for a week, and we had like 8 different showcases over the course of that week. So we've done a couple, and then we went and we did like a much bigger stage one. And so it was like a big crowd around from the band before, and then we were setting up, and more crowd was coming in. And this woman comes up by the side of the stage, kind of like squeezes her way up to this to where she's close enough to the stage to get my attention. She's like, "Hey, hey, hey, hey!" This is while we're like setting up to play, and I'm like, "Yeah." She said, "Are you guys gonna do that song about the Romulans?" And I was like, it took me a second, and then I knew that, like, yeah, Arson's got a Romulans reference in the verse that we do. I think for I Go Hard a lot of the time. So I was like, okay, yeah, yeah, we're gonna do that one where we mention Romulans in one line of the song, and you are gonna love it.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I remember her. I vividly remember her. Yeah, it's funny. I actually got a message the other day about the second line from Freedom, sitting at a counter to create some counterbalance, and it was like, oh, I see what you what all right, yeah. Um, so yeah, a lot of it is very much intentional and uh very very purposeful. I'm in the middle of writing a new joint um that's kind of chock full of stuff like that on purpose. Um, and it's going a whole lot of different directions. I gotta admit, over the last several months, uh, listening to a lot of Black Thought, and with the loss of Malik B the other day,
Malik
rest in
B.
peace. Um, my writing style has been sort of altered and changed a little bit, and but it's I'm trying to get it to a point where, to quote J Live, um, whether it's the first time that you heard, the second time that you played, or the third when you finally understand. That's where I'm trying to get to. And if you get it the first time, sweet. But I want it to be interesting enough that when you listen to it, that A, you want to listen to it again, and that every time you listen to it, you're getting something else from it. I never do this. I never do this. And if you're watching, I'm gonna give y'all this verse real quick.
Oh,
I'm gonna give it to y'all. This never happens.
We're gonna get it.
All right, check this out.
All right.
You go like this. I may never pop the top of the bottle off or spend times dropping opulent monologues. Any lesson I take is an L and not any L I take is a lesson and not a law. But I slay puppet masters like killing Marty Croft. Freeing slaves at all costs, I'm Harriet for hire. Black Vangelis riding chariots of fire. Rappers swear they're nice with their very rich attire, but anybody claiming that they're better is a liar. I spit vitamin verses for healthier bars. Negro League black rap, Philadelphia stars. You think I'm in this to get wealthy, but no, I'm Tiger Woods good, hitting well below par. Standing on the green, dropping my bomb bash. Impacting like the Nagasaki bomb blast, maintaining your connection. I'm Comcast, the fireman that stops the fire. Guy Montag, just ask, I multitask. See, I'm the spirit, the shadow, modern day crime fighter. I'm Hendrix and Kendrick, rock and roll rhyme writer. Laying in the cut, basking in the limelighter, an old timer, despite the fact that I'm young at heart and my black don't crack. My people came from a lane of torture and pain, but I'm making damn sure that we won't go back. No retreat, no surrender. Mental acumen of a million Mensa members. Standing at the center of the room, sending censures to pretenders from faking the funk. I condemn ya with that main source mannerism. Hulk strength mixed with Bruce Banner wisdom. Strategize and plan the mission so it don't end with a brother man in prison. I'm the future that the elders said they can envision. In between the acts of violence and vandalism, every verse got a little of the phantoms in them, calling us out for somnambulism. So if you're the sleepwalking dead, letting days go by like talking heads, and that's where it ends. I gotta finish.
Oh man.
I'm trying to. I want everything that I write from now on. You know what I mean? To not only hit the first time, but the second, the third, the fourth time. I want you looking up stuff that I'm writing. I want it to be really impactful. Like over the last several years, I've been really thinking about just lyricism in hip hop, right? And the idea that I've listened to so much stuff that I had to like eat from Run DMC till yesterday. Like at some point I was like, what's that all about? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. And I want that to happen. I want that to happen with everything that I'm doing. So that's it's actually the verses the song's gonna be called Multitask.
You got me early on there with the Black Vangelis. I love that.
Did you? I want there to be something like that for everybody. I want you to have to look up what somnambulism is.
You know, that's where you had me, was it somnambulism?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I feel like your rhymes just like, I don't know, it attracted you.
Yeah, your verse was so hot, your kids just showed up, just like, what's up? What's going on?
I was reading what Black Thought said about Malik B, and there was a line that he said that made me think about D. He said it was something very specific. He said how his steel, how their steel sharpened each other's steel. You know what I'm saying? Like that right there.
Yeah. No, I hear that.
I'm blessed to be your rhyming partner, brother. I really am.
Likewise. I always tell folks you're one of my favorite rappers.
And that when he said that, I was like, oh wow, all right, I dig that. That's okay. We there.
Hey, you guys, make sure we get in on this circle jerk, all right?
Listen, man.
I like you too, Pharaoh.
I love you, Dad. I love you.
Arson! I'm glad I was wearing the shirt tonight for that.
Yeah.
I forgot to wear a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real stuff, man. That's what we should be doing, right? Like the opposite of, I don't know, cutting each other down or like measuring. There's that. I feel like there's that negative headspace, and I don't know if this happens to MCs. Like maybe this is just like bluegrass banjo players or what. but like look, y'all know your share of bluegrass banjo players. You're privileged to say that.
Right, yeah.
It can be a weird. It can be a weird. I don't want to say a weird crowd, but like the instrument does weird things to you. Actually, and I wanted to not let it pass without mentioning that Kenny Ingram just passed away too. So we just lost a terrific banjo player this week as well. One of the really good ones. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because of that or for whatever reason, but I've been seeing a lot of banjo players just like posting really tasty licks and just being like, that's so great. That's amazing. I love that. Not just Kenny's stuff, but like Sammy Sheeler stuff and just and it warms my heart to see the appreciation for those guys that are just like really solid bandmates, like not something where you look at them like, oh, you're such a hot shot, but like this is just really rich, deep playing, really good stuff, and it amplifies everybody else in the band instead of drowning them out.
Yeah, I was watching this West Coast guy, a black banjo player. I know something.
Mike freaked out a second.
What?
It's all right.
I used a different mic at some point.
Your mic lost its mind for just a second there. It's keeps happening, but
I wish I could change it. That I was listening to this black banjo player, Granola something, this morning, and was like, I don't know, I don't listen to a ton of banjo players. But
You said his name is Granola something?
Yeah.
That's one of my new favorite names.
Granola something.
Yeah.
Is it granola something as you don't know the actual second part, or is it actually granola something?
I don't know the second part.
I want it to be Granola something.
That would be awesome.
But that means that Granola something is still available, Wrench. You can claim that right now.
I'm on it.
Yo.
EP titles, y'all.
I'm gonna have a new kid and name him Granola something.
Funny, actually, I relocated to my office up here, and I came across a couple of books I wanted to mention that I forgot about.
Oh, let's see them.
Delia, you're facing away from the mic again there.
Oh, sorry. I forget this is unidirectional. So one of them.
Cheryl Butler Stahl wants to know what D is drinking too.
What am I drinking? This is just sparkling water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get it in.
It is cold and
Let's
refreshing.
do it.
So one of them is actually by a frat brother of mine named Sean Rochester, who I met while he was in grad school at Penn State.
I know Sean.
Yeah, you know Sean. This is called The Black Tax. The cost of being black in America. And it breaks things down on an socioeconomic level. And basically it's like and the cost of being black in America and what you can do to help create the 6 million jobs and 1.4 million businesses that are missing in the black community. It's actually a really good read and it's on financial empowerment.
Speaking of which, how do you feel about Thomas Sowell? Or Thomas Sowell?
What is he written?
I don't really know him so well.
Ah!
Oh no!
I see what you did. Yeah. Nice one.
Oh.
Very nice. Well done.
Well, that's it for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, I've been
thing to set that up, though,
We're
for you.
just
I've been neck deep in like data science reading.
Throw that up there for an easy layup.
oh
Very nice.
god.
Well done.
Dolio, can I ask? Do you feel like that's is this the idea of just and this is like the overall cost of being black in terms of like probably like generational wealth and just like a full historical picture of everything. I would assume.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that were put in place as policy that are still in practice. But and even the ones that have been dismantled in recent decades, they were in place for long enough to where it creates a significant gap.
Sure, like stuff like redlining, but probably things that are less easy to see, too.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind that redlining was just brought back by your president.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah.
So my question was, thinking about that, like, is this sort of approach like a helpful part of the conversation around reparations?
It's a helpful part of, it's a helpful part of the conversation surrounding reparations. However, I like to be realistic, think realistically about these things. I know what is just. I know that reparations are a very just thing. However, I know that this is America, and in this country, you're dealing with a population that refuses to let go of the vestiges of white supremacy. They won't let go of it easily. They have to have their hand forced. Power only concedes to power. So you can't plead for reparations. It has to be taken. So in order to do that is to empower the populace that has been wronged, so that they can impose their will. So something like this is helpful in order to empower those and give them the tools that they need in order to fight this battle, because this is a war. It is a war. It's not a war that's being started. It's one that's been ongoing, and it's about evolving the tactics so that it can be winnable.
Yeah. Something that makes me think of is, I think different people for different issues approach trying to convince each other of things in different ways. Like you have people trying to convince each other of the rational logic of an argument, which it seems like a book like this would be helpful for, because you can just look at these numbers on paper and say, logically, like there's a real problem here. There's a real disparity. Like you can see it here and here. And then other people might use like more emotion to say, well, this is just an outrage. This is just so terrible, and it just makes me feel terrible. Doesn't it make you feel sad? And so those things can kind of be at odds. But you're saying it's not even really either of those things. It's really a third thing, which is just comes down to an issue of power.
Right. Yeah. Once you take the emotion out of it, because I could care less how a person feels about me. What I care about is their ability to do something about it. So something like this is not about lamenting the problem. It's about it proposes the solutions and breaks down strategies in order to do the work and get the things done. Because I don't really care about how a person feels about me as a person when it comes to their feelings or prejudices about my people. I care about their ability to enforce their will upon me. And whatever I can do to take that power away from them is something that I must do. So, giving yourself the tools and the skills to do that is important. So that's a book I would suggest people read.
You're a beautiful man, Dolio.
Yes. Let me hold that though.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me hold that book though.
Okay.
So,
Hey, Farrah, you still got my Magic Order book? Did you get that back to me?
the Magic Order? You mean that comic book?
Yeah,
No, I never gave it back to you. It's here.
you need that back. That thing's hot though. Fantastic read.
Is it sitting next to my 12-string guitar?
Yeah, you want the 12-string guitar back?
I want you to have it. I don't know. We should figure that out.
I mean, I can't buy it with the pickup messed up. And honestly, like I got a sponsorship with Breedlove, so
Yeah.
if I get a 12-string, I got to get it from Breedlove because I fucking love those guitars.
I
This
hear
is
that.
not.
Speaking of strings, I got a couple of 4-string instruments that arrived this week.
No,
Ooh,
dude,
that's
come on. You
exciting.
said you weren't gonna do it.
He sent
I
me
want
the
to see a
picture
little
of that.
one.
I want to see it. I want to see it. Hey,
I'll show
everybody,
you.
guess
I'll
what
show it to you
Dolio
later.
got?
It's in the basement. So they're in the
It's in the basement.
They're in the basement.
Oh,
The world's tiniest violin is playing a little song for you.
It's not the
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll
I
maybe
keep
we
them.
can-
They're
maybe we can get
stored
them for
away
next
right
time.
now because one of them is a gift and the other one is it's
Oh. Okay. Nice.
Well,
Got to take advantage of the isolation to pick up some new skills.
Yep.
have you actually played yet?
Hmm?
Have you actually played the new purchases yet?
I tinkered around with them. I tuned them and
Nice.
Are these violins we're talking about? Or you got a bass?
I already had basses. I got 2 basses already.
Do you ever have enough basses? Like,
You can't have enough bases, no. I mean, I guess you could fill up your entire house with them.
Nah.
you have a store.
By the way, it is July 31st, which means it is 2 weeks until the new Gangstagrass album comes out.
Hashtag ETFE.
Yeah, and TFE, baby.
That's right.
Yo, dog. I'm excited about this, man. That's gonna be wow.
Y'all saw me say it in Slack, but every time I sit down and listen to that album, I'm like, this is a really fucking good album.
Yeah. One of the things I love about this band is that I can always say when people ask me what my favorite album is, I can always say it's the most recent one.
Yeah. No, same. Me
Yeah,
too.
right?
Me too.
Yeah.
Yep. People
Yeah.
ask which one is the best, and I'm like, well, ideally we get better over time. So
I mean, we love all of our children.
yeah.
It's true. It's tough because also the most recent is the one that's like freshest in my memory, where I kind of access like, oh yeah, I'm excited about that. But I got to say, like, also, like when for some random reason somebody will start playing like an old Gangstagrass song, and it'll take me a second of like, what is that? That's hot. I love that. Like, oh yeah, I made that. That's cool. That's way cool. I didn't remember how cool that was.
I love doing that. I love like listening to not my own voice because it's obvious it's me, but listening to my own banjo. Like there was some backstage recording or something that somebody took just surreptitiously. I think we were jamming with the beatboxer in Baltimore. I think that's what it was. And I was listening to it and I was just like, that's dope. Cool. Who did that?
Yeah,
Oh.
Shoda K. Shoda, is it
Yeah.
Shoda K or Shoda K?
Yeah, Shotoka, yeah.
Yeah. That's
I got-
still
I-
one of my
I
favorite
actually
things.
have audio that we recorded in the green room before that show, because that was one of the shows we did with Star and Micey. You remember we were jamming in the green room and Shoda K was beatboxing.
That's what that was. I was listening to that.
Oh, you have that too?
No, you were playing it in the van, and I was listening to it, and I was just like, I don't know who that is on banjo, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, and I was like, that's you, dude.
Well, it's pretty good.
I love that.
It's a good feeling.
I just remember that this is also simulcasting on YouTube, so I'm
It
checking.
is.
I just
Yeah,
checking out
we've
the
been-
chat room on
We've been
YouTube.
getting the comments here.
Oh, someone commenting on YouTube?
Yeah.
A lot of comments on
Lots of
YouTube.
comments on YouTube.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with all three of the chat rooms here.
I have them all, lined up separately. And YouTube is saying we should tax churches.
And the answer is yes.
Yeah, okay.
Lion Voltron, and
Yeah.
I wish that's also in my basement. I should bring that up too.
This is the second time the idea of vehicle Voltron has come up, like in recent days.
Vehicle Voltron should not be besmirched. It was also a very decent Voltron. The problem is it was so many pieces.
Yeah, it was hard to get to be cool with them. It was like 37 of them, and it was
you just you give up after like 2 or 3 of them. You're just like, nah.
Yeah, I mean,
no way
you
I'm
got 5 lions, you get 5 people. One weird little young boy named Bitch. Yeah, I mean, you get all right, cool. You got 13 bulls all driving cars, and 27 of them with planes. It's like Hank, Al, Jerome, Franklin.
You can't even remember all their names.
Yeah, right. Like, come on, man. I ain't
So, do they all join to form one person still?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and then is one of them the elbow and one of them the pinky finger? Like,
it's like a knee. One was like the sternum.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
The front of the foot, the back of the foot.
Yeah, it was too many pieces, man.
Left cheek, right cheek.
And plus, half of them were like wheeled vehicles. So it's like, come on,
they would be driving through space.
Somebody's gonna bust a flat, and then
they would drive through space.
One leg.
Yeah, how imaginative do you have to be to drive through space?
It was 3 teams of 5 all-terrain vehicles.
Right.
Like, come on, y'all. I'm gonna need y'all to not. It was like, and that was the great thing about a lot of those cartoons then, because they were like, physics, man, who cares? I got time for physics.
You have to also
remember, space.
You also have to remember it was during a time when people were doing a lot of psychedelics.
I think though they have to understand
Cars in space.
Like, look, that's the deal with. You think about the target audience. You think about kids. What does a kid do? I don't have a toy car in front of me because I don't live that life, but I should. But what does a kid do when they're playing with a toy car? They don't just go broom 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 driving on the ground. No, they take the toy car. What do they do, Sleeves? What do they do with the toy car? They go.
I do.
Okay, yeah, but fully half of the time the toy car is flying through the air.
Yeah.
So I think that's just a matter of understanding their target demographic.
Yeah, I know my kid has me attaching wings to just about everything in the house.
See, there you go. Like Legos or just anything?
Anything.
Okay.
It does not matter. Yeah. It's gonna get a set of wings.
Yeah, anything and everything.
That's my single favorite part of that Lego movie was the one dude that just always made spaceships.
Yeah,
that's so real. That's so real.
That was
the best.
That's still me. I'm spaceship all the way when I get into the Legos.
Yeah.
Yo,
for sure.
Play Lego sometime.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That activity club, we're gonna do a Lego session some night. Sure.
By the way, the website is up. Gangstagrass.com/activate.
That's why
we're not building sets. Like nothing with instructions. You just gotta build some stuff.
Gotta be completely style.
Right.
That was
a homie that used to build stuff like that, man.
We got it. Well, 5-1 just made it stateside today.
All right.
He is finally back.
How long? Can you even say how long he's been out?
It's been most of the year so far. He's been in Asia.
Jeez.
Now he's stateside. Is he beside the states or actually land, official land?
He's in San Diego right now, and he called me as soon as he got in because he was headed to the studio.
Man,
which is where he is right now.
Awesome. I was just thinking about him.
He already previewed to me some of this stuff that he is putting together, and it is fire.
I bet. I was just listening to his track on Monkey Knife Fights.
Oh yeah.
Just the other day. Man, that whole album still holds up. By the way.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, most of it we did on the van.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
on the Van,
It is a really good album.
featuring a rap verse by Wrench.
That's right.
Yes.
A verse, something we don't get a whole lot of.
Nope.
Because people forget Wrench has got some serious bars.
Ask mine.
Sometimes.
Wow, we just got a comment in the Twitch encouraging us to buy followers.
5 followers.
Buy followers.
Nice.
We
Are
want
they
real
selling followers?
Yeah, it's some sort of spam we can block, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay.
You always get those online.
How about
Slanging the followers.
having a black woman VP pick? Then please ask a black woman on the Supreme Court.
That's Linda. Linda saying that.
Oh, okay. Oh, so Linda is Gangstagrass rules.
Yes.
Yeah, she's been. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We knew that.
Yep. The jam.
Another plan is a brother man in power positions, sisters in greater control of our conditions.
Exactly.
You know what? I was just listening to another interview with the guy who wrote Enigma, the story of Clarence Thomas, and honestly, just figured out a little bit more about him. Having a black woman on the Supreme Court would probably be very, very good move for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
what if she's a black woman that thinks like Clarence Thomas?
Yo, that'd be
That's
weird.
Oh,
true.
Is that it? Like,
Right,
it's a possibility. There are black
Yeah.
women conservatives out there
Oh,
that
they'll find them.
Last thing we
might
need
be
is a
qualified to
kid
be
to-
judges. I think it's a dangerous idea to assume that, well,
Right.
anybody that's any black woman would be better because they're a black woman.
Yeah. So let's put a little
The odds are probably.
Let's put a little asterisk there. A little asterisk at the end of the sentence that says, well, she got to be cool, too.
Yeah, she got to be down for the cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Clarence Thomas is a serious tragedy. I mean, I couldn't imagine that his ancestors are proud of him. He's gonna have to have some serious conversations in the afterlife.
I mean, he believes in doing what they would want. He's like one of those. He's like a hero that became a villain somehow. Just got warped. It seems like.
It's like darn, why did I even forget his name? It's like Ben Carson.
Oh,
Rest
Yo.
in peace.
Carson.
No, you're
Just
thinking
kidding. He didn't die. I keep
the joke is that
expecting
people are-
everybody in administration to get taken out by COVID, and I don't understand how it hasn't happened yet.
What?
But can I just put a word in for Clarence Thomas, or will you guys shout me down if I do?
Do what
that?
you got to do.
No, do it.
I was just gonna say I don't love invalidating people for their views. Thomas has written intelligent and thoughtful decisions, and whether you agree with his views or not, I don't know. I don't want to be putting asterisks on
I'm not
people and be like,
invalidating
but they have to be
person.
cool.
He's just validating his views.
I wouldn't like.
And the thing is, like, a broken clock is correct twice a day.
Yeah.
True.
And there's another
Absolutely.
question when we talk about the Supreme Court too, which is about the term that people use as activist judges, but there is kind of a larger question about, like, you can't necessarily just stack the deck with people who agree with you. There is the question of, like, are they doing that thing that I'll admit I don't have a full excellent grasp of, and I'm still working on this, but, like, there is this idea that they, all this, like, prior decision and all this, like, well, we have a system and we gotta try to follow the system concept.
Well, a lot of it is based upon their interpretation of what they believe is constitutional.
Sure.
Why, you end up with split decisions anyways. I mean, remember, this is the same court that handed down the Dred Scott decision.
Funny
Exactly. Precedent is not always our friend.
Not at all, no. So then it's a question of what is the organized way to say, I don't know if the president is necessarily good here, but also, like, like what is the balance at the end of the day for any Supreme Court? This one, an ideal future one, a dystopian future one, all the past ones that have decided, like, I mean, if like, I hope folks out there have at least a basic grasp on the history of the major Supreme Court cases, but like, a lot of them went in the direction away from civil rights and social justice, and then some of them went back in the direction, but from a purely Supreme Court perspective, like, every single one of those was the decision of the court. So if you're somebody who has to respect the Supreme Court's decisions, then you got to respect all of them.
Yeah,
The single most,
which is why it's very important who you put into power to select Supreme Court justices. Because if you get someone who's basically is intent on being a despot, and you get a bunch of people who are, wanting to parrot his despotic aspirations,
because they're attracted to power,
then you end up with, serious injustice.
Yeah, how do you govern without law? How do you govern based off of like instinct? Because we make ourselves so incredibly rigid when we decide to like codify ourselves with law, and people just want to lock themselves into it. So how do we naturally, innately know, like, you can't?
I mean, a society needs a code.
Yeah, it's true, because there's also the downside of the other way of like governing just by instinct. Opens it up to all of our biases to be in full force there. So you need something to hold that in check as well.
Yeah, and we'd be bouncing all over the place too. One of the helpful things about a system of laws and even a bureaucracy is that it slows down the knee-jerk populist thing that comes up every now and then. And sometimes the knee-jerk populist thing is good, and sometimes it's very
and
not
that's the
good.
thing that they said about the Electoral College, and there's that argument gets employed throughout the history of this country, and it may not bear out. Like, I don't know if you have any thoughts
why
on
the Electoral College exists.
Like, I don't know if
the Electoral College is a bit of a different animal for sure.
But we're seeing
the representative democracy in general.
Stuff in the Twitch chat was a good point, that healthcare workers are not feeling represented by either parties. And that includes nurses, CNAs, nurse practitioners, physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists. None of them really have a voice right now. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we are spending so much of our tax dollars on things that have nothing to do with actually keeping our populace healthy or safe, really, because you basically these are things that could be fully invested in, that because we decided we wanted to have a for-profit healthcare system, which is pretty much a singularity in the developed world, you end up dealing with something that should be an essential service in a capitalistic way, which means that you're going to be exploiting the people who are executing this work. You're dealing with people who are overworked, short-staffed, on top of the fact that they're dealing with crippling debt just to get in the position to do the work in the first place.
Hey, do you guys want to have an interview with a medical worker?
Yeah, I mean, we had one last time. We might as well have more.
Exactly, Dr. Dina.
True.
Yeah. We can bring on entirely medical doctors if we want.
Yeah.
We will at some point have a Mars rover driver on the team stream as well, which we're very excited about.
Yes, we are.
It just launched today?
Yep.
Oh, right. What was it yesterday?
And that was the one that we saw in development when we saw.
Yeah, this is so cool. So the thing that we saw them building, like we were right there above it, watching them build the Mars rover driver, and Mars rover, And they just launched that thing to Mars now. Our little buddy that we were looking at, like, hey.
Post about that.
Our little
That's
Tesla
crazy
car.
to even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really cool trip.
That was a really cool trip.
MT LeConte 73.
That's Tanya.
Oh, that's Tanya.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe
See
Tanya.
how well we know
maybe
that
Tanya could be our
Hey, she can come on too.
She's-
We can have Tanya on.
She's
a little
down. She's saying she's down. So
Yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate physical therapy. Got
Yeah.
me on my feet again.
how is your Achilles, by the way?
I have my moments, but I say I'm about 90% now.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just stay on my regimen. Ooh, what's that? Oh, that's the cauliflower.
Yeah.
That paprika?
Ooh.
Yep,
Yeah, paprika.
coriander, salt and pepper.
Okay, Tanya is down.
You didn't toss it in oil or anything?
I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of oil on top.
Get back to the YouTube comments.
All right. All right.
So on a future stream, we'll have special guest Tanya to tell us what she's gone through as a healthcare worker.
Yeah. And anybody else? Is anybody else in any other? I don't know. I was thinking about, like, you know, just all the different experiences of people in different jobs. You know, obviously, like, there's the essential workers, but there's also just, like, I don't know, so many people are in positions right now, like healthcare workers, where I feel like we would really benefit from hearing actual people's stories of what it actually is like doing whatever it is that you do.
One of the folks in the Freedom video does a bunch of warehouse work.
Oh,
and is also like a voiceover guy, so his voice is just delightful to listen to.
Man.
So that he'd be, we should bring
Yeah.
Richard on. I don't know if he's
That would
he's
be
hanging out in any
terrific.
of the chats now.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, get
Cool.
a warehouse
Yeah.
worker.
It would be cool to hear from some musicians about what it was like
Would it though?
having everything canceled. But actually, speaking of it,
Would you like to?
or we could also,
Boring.
booking agents are actually like really, if anything, like even in the hole here, because there's no, like, musicians can try to do other things, but booking agents are about concerts, and those are all gone.
Yeah.
So like CCA, which is one of the biggest agencies, just announced that they're laying off like most of their agents.
Yeah, like a lot of those folks are really passionate about that work, and like when like their industry's almost kaput.
Mhm.
I've
Yeah.
talked to a couple of friends that just like, were really passionate about their work and really don't know what their new direction is without it.
Yeah. And venues too, I think, is going to be part of that equation.
Mm.
Like, I've been thinking about this on the folk level with house concerts and stuff. You know, if you've gone over to, like, say you're playing live stream shows and maybe you're getting a little bit of money, like, the venues and the presenters are, like, cut out of that stream unless they have adapted to figure out a way to present these things, which they should. But, there's just so many. You think about like, even us, like, we're not a huge act that runs around with, like, lighting crews and stuff, but you have to think, like, you're generating business and economy for other people. So if that's not happening, they're not happening.
Yeah, a lot of that just evaporated.
Yeah. So in the chat, Tanya was saying, tell us how it's going for you guys. So is there anybody? It is, it's definitely personal, but is there anybody who's willing
Sure.
to talk about the experience?
I need to get back on stage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to hear that. It's rough.
No, but
it's
we
rough for
we
us
do
right now.
we do, like, on an emotional level, like, we all definitely miss being able to play live for people, with people in an audience, that we can interact with. The recordings that we're doing and, like, editing together of us to broadcast is just not the same, like, sitting here in in a room by yourself recording your set is not the same at all. And that's just from the perspective of losing the ability to do the thing that we were enjoying doing so much, and now is just not in the cards.
And like so out of the cards.
Yeah.
It would be one thing if it was like, hey, you gotta not play for a few weeks. It'd be another thing even if it were like, hey, like Dolio, how long were you off your feet and off the stage when you busted your Achilles? Did they tell you like 3 months, 6 months? But they gave you a definite time frame, right? Or a vague time frame.
They told me it takes like a year to fully recover.
Okay, but you were back within a year with a cane.
Yeah, and that was they were mostly astounded.
Yeah,
because how dedicated I was to getting back.
For sure.
And they said that it was probably the fact that I went so hard in the gym.
Yeah.
While recovering, that I didn't stop.
Right.
And is what brought me back, because I was back in the gym the week after the surgery.
Wow.
Right. And I got to clean it. I was like, can I get back in the gym? I didn't want to lose my gains.
Yeah.
Right. I was hitting some milestones, and I was pretty proud of. And they were like, yeah, you can do anything above the knee.
And this is like that, right? Because we do want to make consistent progress and not backslide, but also not be stupid. Like we don't want to hurt ourselves and invalidate. Like you injure yourself again, that's not progress.
Right. So that meant I wasn't jumping off the stage anymore. But when did we do that? When was my first tour back? It was Oregon,
Hamilton. Hamilton was the first show back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
BC.
so. I think that's right.
Yeah.
So that was like
August.
I was out for so August. So it happened in June, and then I got back in August. But I was
2
doing
months.
End of August. Yep.
well all of June, all of July, most of August.
So 3
I was
months.
back at the end, but I wasn't doing anything like I had to use the stool to sit on for a good half of the show, and then I had pain up until Americana Fest.
I still love the cane. Bring the cane back. The cane is wicked.
It worked, man. It made it work.
Cane is quite pimpish. I mean, Sinbad congratulated me on the cane.
And not only that, but it throws me back to the James Brown Tammy show, where he does that one number where he has that great bit where he falls to his knees in the middle of the song, and then his band all gather around him and put the sick robe around him, and they have to lead him off the stage, and then he throws it off. He's like, "No, man, I got to get back on stage," and he does that like 3 times. And that's what I love is you start the show with the cane, and then at a certain point you just throw it away. That was so. It really worked. It really worked.
Yeah, it was mostly by then the adrenaline was flowing so much that I don't care.
Right.
But a lot of that was due to the fact that I was doing PT 3 times a week.
Yeah. Well, our physical therapist in the chat, Tanya, says don't do any more fighting mountain lions.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but you should see the mountain lion though.
Hey.
But that my point I think is that like at least with that there was like a defined end. Like it's not going to be forever. Your Achilles is going to heal, haha, and you're going to get back to it. But I don't know. For me, this is like it kind of reminds me of those. There was a spate of shows where. There was that Eagles of Death Metal show at the Bataclan Theater in Paris. There was the Ariana Grande show in Manchester. The show in Vegas. Where shows started to get attacked, and it felt like it started to be a thing, and it hurt me just to be reminded that what you do is categorically dangerous, and I've always hated that. Like. I want music to be categorically fun and full of love and healing and good energy and not something where somebody would think, oh yeah, a music concert. That is where I'm going to shoot a lot of people or blow it up. That's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it was also the Olympics, the Boston Marathon.
You're right. It's not just music.
It's all over the place. So.
You're right.
also this is a place where it doesn't happen as often.
Yeah, be thankful that it's not. It's not happening all the time. This isn't.
It's just it is. It seems to be more prevalent, but it's
Yeah.
you can't live your life in fear.
You can't, but unfortunately right now, that's it feels like we are now just reminded again of the inherent risks and dangers.
You
and it's
live
real.
man.
Was that?
You can't live your life in fear.
Yeah, I've been in my house since March 14th. I can live my
Right.
life.
We're living our life we're living our life in caution.
Yeah.
Right. This caution is not fear.
Yeah.
I'm not living in fear, and I'm living in
Reasonable
caution.
caution.
Yeah.
Caution is taking steps to prevent things that that are preventable.
Yeah.
But it's true. It performing means a lot to us, and being able to connect to people in that way was such a big part of what we do.
Yeah.
And anything that kind of puts that in question is a bit painful. And I think that's the number one thing.
That connection that we have with the people is I like to tell people we don't have fans. We got like supporters.
Mhm.
Or better yet, it's like a big congregation even. These are like people because we know these people.
Yeah, and we don't just have shows; we have parties.
We have parties. We host celebrations. So we come to your town. We're not coming to necessarily entertain. We're coming to fellowship, really.
On the other side of that coin, like I feel really, I'm not excited about the gigs that we missed out on this year that were great. Montreal Jazz.
I like to think we didn't miss out on them.
Yeah.
Right.
They're next year.
Postponed.
It's just been postponed, and when we do get there, it's going to be even more fire.
Rephrase. Not excited about the gigs that got postponed.
Think like, imagine it. Look at it like this. Sorry for this analogy. Think of it as a person that you've been interested in for a while, and she finally gave you that date, but then she got sick.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah.
So when we have that date, it's gonna be fire.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
You bring in the flowers, the candy. You're gonna have you saved up, so you're gonna have the lobster stroganoff.
Yeah.
Gangstagrass gonna be playing. It's gonna be hot.
That's the number one thing I think that like immediately we really want to talk about is just missing the connection with our fans with performing and just the chance to go out there and do it. There is of course the other side of which is the fact that we don't really have work now, and we're bringing in a little here and there, and this is where we got to give a big shout out to the Barnstormers. And let everybody else know a way to keep supporting us and give us some resources to keep making some new content and some cool stuff is a monthly membership club that we have called the Barnstormers. We'll put the link in the chat, so you can go to gangstagrass.com/barnstormers and sign up for $4 or $16 or a couple other tiers that we have there. And every month you'll get access to some exclusive stuff, behind the scenes stuff, unreleased stuff, some archive stuff, and it'll plug you in with us to get some special goodies, and also go to help keep this movement going and have us have a little bit to help power all the stuff that we want to be making.
And it helps right now in a different way. And I just want to say that like this is the sort of thing where you think of it normally, you think of it as like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, all right, and they do that too. Like they do the shows, and that's what they get paid to do, and that's mainly how they make a living. And then they also do this like fun little side thing on the side too. Oh, that's nice. I guess that's helpful in a supportive way. So right now, like just to remind folks, we're not playing any shows. You haven't seen us. No one has seen us. We're not playing any shows. So this sort of thing that might normally be like a nice little side part of supporting what we do this is it right now. It's not it forever. Like, we're gonna eventually we'll find a way to do shows safely, but right now this is it. So it really is kind of important in helping us really, get through this time at all. Just to say, like, it's very helpful. It's very appreciated, and yeah, we really see all of that. So thank you to everybody who's already supporting us with that.
Yeah, it's huge.
I used to talk with a friend about like he was a bit of a curmudgeon when it came to Amanda Palmer's career and how she kind of shook things up financially because the way she did things through Patreon and just like fans being able to engage directly with her took a lot of these middlemen out of the picture. Or what are a lot not you don't want to call them middlemen. Like the people that like make Gangstagrass work in a lot of ways. There are the venues, there are the bookers, there are the booking agents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the way she formed her network cut all of that out. Um, and in a lot of ways, like that could leave a lot of people hungry. That could leave a lot of people out of the picture. But it gave her a chance to be pure about her art form and use it in a way that was more directed and more poignant. So it's a great opportunity for us to be able to do that with you guys.
Yeah.
Talk to the fans.
You make a good point too, Pharaoh. Like, thinking about it, a lot of people right now at home are being affected by the decision as to whether to continue, CARES Act funding for folks that don't have a job right now, and that's including gig workers for the first time, which is just an amazing thing. And to me, I kind of see a lot of this stuff as just like the stopgaps that we can do right now in the moment, where maybe it would be better, maybe, in my opinion, if we had something more like a universal basic income. Like, never mind the question of continuing unemployment insurance. Like, what if we just turned unemployment insurance into universal basic income, and then we wouldn't have to worry about so many of these questions. And what if we had universal health care and we didn't have to worry about, well, if you're out of your job, you're out of your health care, and then, which would really suck if it's a pandemic and you get sick from it. There are a lot of ways to address this, and you make a really good point, Pharaoh. I think that we all are out here looking out for ourselves because we got to do that, but maybe there are even better ways to say, like, is there something bigger than this? Is there something better than this, that it doesn't just work for us, but actually works for everybody? And I think that's something that we're thinking about too.
Yeah, honestly, in this occasion, Randall Wyatt, posted something really cool. Something about rapping and also helping build the community. In this opportunity that this time is, like, I get to hang out with the Black Sailors a lot more that are around Baltimore. I get to work out with the community that's around here, and also work on construction projects with like black-owned construction companies, and throw some of that like natural build stuff that I've been working on a lot. Like we're making an all natural plaster next week. We were working on testing out some bricks this week.
Nice.
We found like a site where we can get clay from really easy.
You're making bricks?
Yeah, we're making bricks.
Nice.
Them bricks, son.
Nice.
Nice.
Taking them bricks.
It's a project I've been thinking about for a long time, especially with a lot of the dilapidated buildings around here.
Yeah.
In Baltimore. And not just the dilapidated buildings, the ones that are fixed up that look like fucking shit because no one put any imagination into building it.
So do you follow what Randall Wyatt's doing? Like, just to put the plug out there, I don't know if anybody
Awesome.
wants
Yeah,
to speak
I
to
love
that.
work out there, man.
I love it.
Does anybody want to like just like
Randall
generally
White is
describe
he's
the?
definitely doing the work. He's basically putting together a nonprofit support network to encourage home ownership and supporting of home ownership in the Black community.
And that's specifically in Portland. So Randall Wyatt is located in Portland, Oregon, and that's where he's doing this. And people should check that out if you're interested in supporting him. It's at you can look at facebook.com/takingownershippdx. PDX is the code for Portland. And he's an amazing MC. He's on the album. And he's doing stuff like this. It's just really cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I saw that. I just got hip to it today. I was just like, that's my man.
Yeah,
because we hang out with cool people.
I would like to have him on as a guest on our stream sometime soon. And
very good idea.
Also, I really want to get a report from Portland.
Yeah. Actually, I feel like we all have a good number of friends who live in Portland. Like, I don't know, folks listening at home, I don't know if you have like friends in Portland, but that's one helpful thing about being touring musicians is like we don't have to rely on, various news accounts. Like we know people. We
have people in every major city and in just about every small town that we know personally. They can give us the scoop about what's going on the ground. Like
no.
By the way, happening in Seattle, I can, there's people I can call up and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, nah, that's not what's happening."
Right.
You want to know what's going down in Berea, Kentucky? We'll tell you.
Always. I always want to know what's going down in Berea. Berea
Thomas,
is one
West
of the best.
Virginia, we got you.
Man, I so miss Thomas, West Virginia.
Yeah.
It was Heather's birthday the other day. Heather Hanna.
Nice.
Yep. She's still a beautiful soul.
Yeah. While I was thinking about the Barnstormers, if I can just bring it back and plug one more thing.
Bring it black.
Is it the really exciting thing that's going up this month?
Yes, I want to actually tell everybody what you're going to get if you sign up for the Barnstormers.
What do you get?
You get access to
all of this.
All of this plus an actual phone recording that we had going on at the rehearsal space when Freedom just initially was conceived ever for the first time. It's a phone recording that captured when Farrah was playing this old fiddle tune and Danjo joined in, and I found a beat and started playing it, and in the background you can hear Dolio and Arson starting to talk about what they would do on it, and then bringing the idea over to us and say, hey, here's what we're going to do on this. It was the moment of conception of Freedom captured on audio. So we're gonna give the Barnstormers access to that. Sign up for a monthly subscription with the Barnstormers, and you get to hear it.
Does that include the two guys
most of the stuff that is on the Barnstormers is permanent, so once you sign up, you'll get all the back stuff. But there's a few things here and there that are gonna show up and not be permanent. So there is some incentive to jump in now so that you'll see everything.
Yep.
It's another game, Alan. Hey, Rent.
Yeah.
Why don't you hit me with a beat, and we'll put multitasking on there too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna record that.
Right, let's see how our latency treats us today.
No, not right now.
It's like email him a beat. He's gonna make the track, and then we'll put it on the Barnstormers.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna say this, and I'm hoping I don't regret it. We're gonna have to. So we're gonna say that the Barnstormers are also gonna get an early copy of the next Monkey Knife Fights.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So so we've the next Monkey Knife Fights is in the works, but it will be released to the Barnstormers before anybody else gets it.
Nice.
Nice.
I think I'll try to have some new material coming together. Maybe a couple of single tracks. I don't know if it's going to be much right now, but it's something. Whenever that's ready, or maybe even just bring in like mixes, alternate versions. Like here it is, just the stripped down version, maybe.
You know what? I got a couple of tracks that I have just been sitting on for a while that I will be throne with the Barnstormers just as well.
Yeah, you do.
All right.
I feel like we've been hearing
Stuff
about
Pharaoh's
that.
been sitting
Right.
on
Yeah,
like a mama hen.
Yeah.
there's still that Baltimore Club house remix of Nickel and Dime.
Oh, please, please.
All right, so everybody get over to gangstagrass.com/barnstormers and just get signed up on the program. There's a lot of good stuff coming your way.
Like we don't even know what it is.
Well, we've got live tracks. We've got live tracks that nobody's ever heard before, unless you were at the show, in which case, happy memories. Yeah, Pharaoh.
Wait, there's also live video that nobody's seen.
True.
We got to do this, please, Lord in heaven, please let it dawn on my band that this is something that needs to happen.
Let's all hold hands.
I'm holding your hands, y'all.
What's up?
Please let us make a go-go version of Simon Says.
Oh Lord.
Please let
He's
us.
taking my hand away from it.
Speaking into existence.
Oh my God! Me and a friend drummed it out the other day. Oh, it would be so good.
Make it happen. Make it happen. You know what else? It's time. We were just talking to Chris Seaton about this. We gotta get serious, folks.
Wait, are we gonna tell him about that?
Conceptually, we gotta make a holiday song.
Hey, you never know; they might have some good suggestions.
Yeah, we
Okay.
gotta make a holiday song, folks.
gotta make
Gangstagrass is about that.
At
paper.
least one, if not, a holiday EP. Who knows?
Yeah, holiday EP.
And Mariah Carey says all you need is one. So she's right.
Yo, she's collected over $60 million in royalties off that one song.
One song.
Yes.
One
One
song.
song.
Yeah.
And that's
He
what
doesn't
Bing Crosby
know,
said.
Yeah, I don't even think
So,
I don't even
yeah,
call
it's
it
time.
I don't even call it Christmas anytime. I just call it Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Happy Mariah
Well,
Carey, everybody.
I'll try to start putting down a draft of a little song called "Happy Christmas, Hana, Kwanzaa, Ramadan, and Musmaka, Arbor Day."
Yeah,
And,
nice.
You got to throw
Start.
Festivus some love too.
yeah,
like that. I like that. And obviously, it needs to be original so we can be collecting on those royalties.
yeah. Right.
But I would, if we made an EP, I would throw in a couple of really choice covers. I feel like I honestly think we would do a great version of Last Christmas by Wham.
Oh Lordy.
And I think it's great because a lot of people already think that they might not like us as a band conceptually. And then
and they
they
might think that they don't like that song by Wham, but when you put the two together, they
exactly.
really don't like it.
Yo,
What the fuck?
Yo, Wrench, I do recall we used to do a pretty darn good cover of Christmas in Hollis.
We did that. Yes, we did Christmas in Hollis, which is a dope song. I love that song, and I would be totally down to cover that again.
You guys,
Yep.
the dreidel song is public domain.
Haha.
Okay. Yo,
Yeah.
all right,
Banjo,
I'm putting
banjo,
a pen to pad to
banjo.
write some dreidel rhymes.
Right?
So is this some Annie Up style dreidel song?
You know what's wild is that my son was like singing that song like nonstop last year. Yeah.
Dreidel, or any up.
No, the dreidel. He does not yet know. He does not yet know the national anthem. I mean, excuse me.
It is the national anthem. Annie Up, for those who do not know, is the national anthem.
For those that do not know, the Gangstagrass considers Annie Up by MOP the national anthem.
It's true.
Oh, that's a video we could put up. That video of entering the United States, where he just sort of sat in the long
Oh, yeah.
line to get back into the U.S.
Yeah.
while listening
snap.
to the national
We
anthem.
videotaped that?
Yeah, we videotaped us sitting in the line to go through customs to get back into the United States in our van.
Playing Annie Up.
We rolled the windows down and we just blasted everybody around us with Annie Up by MOP. That was fun.
Yep.
If there's one thing that I hope someday we can put a new sound system in Huey, because
Yeah.
that's what we have to do consistently.
Mhm.
Yo, I actually have I have an extra 15 sitting in my basement.
Right?
If you need some serious bump.
Some bass.
We do need
Yeah.
that. We do need
We do
that. Yep.
I get a bass drum.
Christmas in the Van would probably be a nice little Christmas song.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas in the Van.
I gotta tell you, I really love that Chevy Express. I earnestly do. And the thing that proves it to me is every time we go on tour where we have to fly to a place where we then have to rent a vehicle. And this is why we end up taking 2 minivans, is because every time we try to rent a van, it's a freaking Ford Transit.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I swear to God. Why? But no, you can never find a decent bench seat Chevy Express to save your life. But that's the way.
We did luck up and get a facsimile of Huey.
Yeah, like one time though. That's the exception that proves the rule.
And that was not luck. That was some hard work to make sure
that's
that
right.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That wasn't White Huey, was it?
That was
That did happen once. White Huey happened.
Yeah, we did. I remember White Huey.
Yeah.
Wait, and then we had Dewey.
Yeah, we did have Dewey. I forgot about Dewey.
Was there a Louis?
Louis at one point.
Have a
Was there
Louis
never
yet.
Louis? No, I never got to that.
Have a Bluey someday.
Oh.
Kablooey?
Bluey, anybody? Nobody? Louie. I know that.
No. But
Louie
you just.
Bluey, also the first guy to ever teach me the blues ever. That was a cool cat. I will always appreciate that guy. Bluey, if you're out there, I love you, man.
Nice.
And that is not a bunch of hooey.
No, you know what you just reminded me of? You just reminded me of the children's book from. Okay, so you know how South Park has a cartoon within South Park that's like sort of a parody of itself,
Terrence and Phillip?
and the
They're
Simpsons.
Canadian.
And the
They're
Simpsons
top hats.
also right, and the Simpsons also has a cartoon within itself that's also sort of a parody
Itchy
of
and
itself.
scratchy.
Right, it's like an
Yep.
extreme version of it. Okay. Does anybody remember your Calvin and Hobbes well enough to remember the name of the children's book that Calvin always wants to be read every night before bed? Hamster Huey and the Gooey Kablooey.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Uh-huh.
It was that deep.
And it like you never actually get the full text of like this terrible children's story, but you can tell that it's just like really just gruesome. Like, why read this ever?
Yeah, right.
Oh, snap. Dude. Sorry.
So that's what you made me think of, Pharaoh. Gooey
I
Kablooey.
to get sidetracked. That made me think of. I just saw this on my bookshelf, and I think I want to bestow this copy of this book to you.
Aww.
Yeah.
Dude, I hope she's not watching right now.
Well, it is what it is it's a reassuring month by month guide for the father to be.
Yeah. Well,
And it's got a funny title, but it's actually quite helpful.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. And maybe also a copy of What to Expect When You're Expecting a Fire Monster.
Well, I know this.
Oh yeah.
Funny you should say that. I guess. Yeah, grandson of a librarian has got a ton of books in there.
Yep.
But
I have a book called Jewish as a Second
Just to
Language
remember.
where that looks
There
exactly
it is.
like the What to Expect When You're Expecting.
Are we all gonna hold it up? Oh.
there we go.
No, it's not like a base. We don't actually all have a copy. I do have a copy, I think, somewhere.
Oh, okay.
What now?
What was it? Jewish as a second language?
Yep.
What is it about?
It was interesting. It basically was like describing my grandmother in a way that I didn't realize anybody else knew her.
Okay.
It's cool. So you learn some Yiddish, you learn some, customs. It's very irreverent. It's sort of like in the category of the, wicked Spanish or wicked Japanese kind of books where they're
Okay.
yeah. It's satirical-ish. but very funny, and much more accurate to my family than I realized it would be.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
highly recommend.
Emily, you're Jewish.
Partially.
I just for some reason I think I have you confused with another friend who seems very Jewish but really isn't Jewish. Yeah, my very good friend Nick.
There you go. Yeah, I'm
We are
definitely
so
on the
glad
other
to know
side.
this, Pharaoh.
It's
I'm
a
so glad
common
that you brought this
mistake.
up.
Alrighty.
That is really important.
We've only known each other for what did we figure out? 8 years? 9 years?
Yes,
Maybe.
The
Yeah, you remember we
better
did
part
have
of
a
the
we
decade.
did have a Seder in the van.
Yeah.
Oh wait, was this the time I called
No.
my family for
That
the
was actually
Seder?
in Texas, and that was one of the times we were split in 2 separate minivans.
We-
So it was
that's right.
Dolio. It was you and me and Sleeves. We were the only ones there for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me describe how dope this van was. Like, you ever wonder if there's 2 vans? You ever wonder if you're in the good van? I'm just gonna say that in the
Any
back
van
seat,
would be in a good van.
in the back seat, Sleeves is on a family Seder call, and in the front seat, I'm driving, picking out Texas barbecue spots to stop at. Dolio's sitting over here, and here's what Dolio's doing. We're in Texas, so Dolio picked up a bag of pecans.
Yes.
And he is opening them, and they're, brain-shaped, right? So there's a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere. And you open it, and you split it in half, and you give half to Danjo. And Danjo and Dolio
Wait,
went
I
through...
missed all of that because my Zoom dropped off.
Oh, well, you remember. We were eating pecans.
Yeah, you were there.
And Dolio's
Oh, yeah.
opening it up and splitting them with me. So we went through this bag of pecans. It was one of the most heartwarming experiences.
That's right. When they talked, I remember this now. When they were like, okay, hold up your bitter herbs, and I held up a pecan.
That's what we
because
had.
That's what I had.
That's what we had.
Yeah.
That was the van. That was the good van.
I just want to say
That's something you gotta know. If we go to a place where pecans are grown, I am going to stop and pick up a huge grocery bag full of them.
And split them with me, which was awesome. I very much appreciated that.
I thought I was in the other van, which I thought was the good van for like a whole season. And then I was like, wait a minute.
You guys did what?
This is the bad van.
Remember this place? This was the place with the giant squirrel.
Yeah.
Giant squirrel
Yeah,
and
that's
the
the spot.
tons and tons of. Yep.
Yep. That's where he got the
I will,
Okay, who can find the picture of the squirrel? Where was that? Was that on Facebook or Instagram? All right.
That's a great question.
A challenge for our fans. Go through our social media right now, and the first person to find a giant squirrel wins a prize to be determined.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I ever saw the picture. I just know I was
it
hanging
was a great picture.
from a squirrel.
Your legs are in the picture, and your upper half is inside of a squirrel, a giant squirrel. It was a great picture. I was very proud of that picture.
Yeah, I forgot you did that.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a
we do
good
a lot of
time.
Crazy stuff.
I do want to apologize to Em for not like knowing that for sure, but my friend who I've known for like 15 years, I have to ask him sometimes, like, you're not Jewish, right?
Well, you
good
are all
question to ask
invited to the
somebody.
next time we have a Seder in person. We did a Zoom Seder this year.
I much prefer Purim, but I'll do both.
Yo,
Oh,
I
man.
Of
actually,
course,
Okay.
of course you do.
Dude,
yeah, we could rock some Purim.
I played a bluegrass Purim one time.
That sounds great.
It was
Let's do it.
entitled. It was called Shalom, y'all, and it went from there. It went from there, pretty much.
I don't think my liver can sustain Purim again.
No, this was Purim for the kids. This was
Oh.
like Halloween Purim with candy and stuff. It was
I've always
very
been to adult Purim.
daytime. Yeah.
But that would be cool. I like the idea of a Gangstagrass Purim, and there might be something to a song for the holiday album on that, or even just like that sounds like an interlude.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
somebody starts talking about the evil king, and everybody makes a bunch of banjo and fiddle and
Some sketches, some skits. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, a moonshine Purim.
We need to do skits. We need to do
No, we
moonshine
do.
skits. Like That's what we need. That's what we need. That's the final, like keystone in the arch.
It's time for us to start making some skits for sure.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
We have a couple. We have a couple ideas. We have a couple ideas lined up.
That's right.
So,
The green screens are in effect.
yes.
Down with skits.
I still don't know how exactly I'm going to produce the skit about the narcoleptic church organist, but someday it's got to happen.
We'll get it done, man. We'll get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I would say a few times a year we end up in a venue with a full-on organ. So next time that happens, let's just do it.
I'm sorry. Are we not doing phrasing anymore? I'm sorry.
Nope. Nope. We are not.
I'm sorry. I couldn't have let that one pass.
Terrible.
I miss you guys so much.
Yeah.
This is really what it's like in the van. In case anybody was curious, if you've ever wanted to get in the van and we've been like, sorry, there's no room or whatever. This is it. You got it. It's right here.
Well, it's 50% this and 50%.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
I have my feet up on the ceiling.
Yep.
There's a lot of that too.
But the playlists, though,
Yes.
Oh man, deep playlists. And
I will say I've been upping my Gangsta Van playlist thanks to the Saturday dance parties from Dolio and now Wrench. I'm throwing a lot of new music into the Gangsta Van playlist just from those sets.
Yep.
So speaking of which, tomorrow at 3 p.m. That's is it Wrench? Is it yours tomorrow?
Could be.
Yep, Wrench
we'll find
music
out.
party.
It's very possible. Right here. We'll Twitch broadcast, which people can get to by going to gangstagrass.tv. And come here tomorrow at 3 p.m. to watch some funky jams go down. DJ dance party.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And don't forget to get your absentee ballots.
Yeah. Oh, do it.
Yep.
If you don't live, in a state where, well, what do I know? Like, New Jersey did our primary 100% mail-in, but I don't think they probably won't apply that. I don't know. Are we doing 100% mail-in general election for New Jersey?
I don't even know. Yo, I just saw this thing.
I should know that.
I just saw this thing like 2 seconds ago. Not only did your man, was he wilding out about just everything in general, but he had the nerve. All right, so yesterday he put out the tweet, with universal mail-in voting, not absentee voting, which is good, 2020 will be the most inaccurate and fraudulent election in history. Going to be a great embarrassment to the USA. Delay the election until people can properly, securely, and safely vote.
Constitutionally, you cannot delay the election.
Exactly. But wait. Today, that was yesterday. Today, the White House condemned Hong Kong's decision to postpone the September 6th election for its legislature, saying it was the latest example of Beijing undermining democracy in the Chinese-ruled city.
How dare they?
Yes.
Well, can I get back to what you just said, where you said the mail-in votes would be bad, but absentee votes is fine. Let's be clear, folks. Mail-in is bad. Absentee is good because they are somehow different.
And I know we've talked about this before, but it is always worth reiterating. Tell your friends. It would be unbelievably difficult, very low yield, basically impossible to have wide, massive scale fraud with mail-in voting. For anybody who has done a mail-in ballot,
That is if you also ignore the fact that 29 of the 50 states already do it.
Yeah. The voter fraud cannot be a thing on the scale that people that say that they're worried about that would be worried about. And to skip ahead a step, what actually is happening often is voter suppression and people using the fear of voter fraud to enact suppressive laws that what they're really trying to do is very simply to keep people from voting legitimately, to keep people from legitimately voting and using this imagined fear, this highly overestimated fear of, oh, what if people are somehow committing voter fraud? It's not a thing that happens. Not in a meaningful way.
Let's also not ignore that in his sham investigation of supposed voter fraud yielded that the only incident of voter fraud was one of his homies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We all have to remember that Trump sucked the devil's dick.
Oh my.
Okay.
We believe in freedom of speech here at Gangstagrass. Each opinion is the individual person's opinion and does not necessarily reflect.
I mean, if this is going to be that kind of party, I'm going to stick my dick in the mashed potatoes.
That's how they get their flavor.
Oh shit.
That's so.
But sour cream and mashed potatoes.
You make a great point, Pharaoh, about voter fraud and voter suppression, which is of course that requiring a photo ID and other forms of voter suppression. I think that's the direction that you were going on.
Yeah, he really boiled it down.
Yeah, little known fact, Dick in a Box, the song Dick in a Box is actually about voting. It's about the ballot box.
Yeah.
That's real.
I like that.
That's all got it in me.
This Gangstagrass, we know how to boil down a complicated issue.
Yeah.
Into a simple form.
Yeah. I was skipping a few steps in what Sleeve said, and then we just went straight to bottom line here. We don't have a lot of time.
About this.
The simple fact is if you're going to require photo ID, you have to not also be making it harder for people to get photo ID by eliminating the places where people get their photo ID.
Well, this is going to be a particularly big problem this year, as I know Pharaoh knows all too well, and probably some of you other guys do as well, is how difficult it is to get to a DMV right now because you have to make an appointment because they can't have people sitting around in waiting rooms. So depending on the state or jurisdiction you're in, it could be weeks, even months before you can get an appointment at a DMV. So if you actually need an appointment to get an ID in order to vote, that in itself is going to be a wall in front of your voting participation.
Which is reminding me.
In DC.
Say again,
DC?
Pharaoh?
I still have to vote in DC.
Yeah. And that's actually reminding me of something, and this is maybe not super connected, but it just occurs to me because right now I have I have to renew my registration on my car, which, of course, I can easily do online or mail in. And I guess the only reason that I'm mentioning that is, just because I'm sitting here thinking about it. I'm thinking, well, sure, but I could also just go into the DMV. But, maybe it would be helpful if people who can do things by mail do that. Just in a general sense. Like, if you can do your visit online instead of going in person, if you do that, you actually maybe are making it easier for somebody to get an appointment in person who needs to do that. You're also making it safer for them because you're not there and it's less dense. And that applies to DMV, but as I'm thinking of it, telemedicine,
that's possible.
It applies to so many things, right? If you have a way to just ease the burden on the system, that's a lot of what we need right now, is just people being responsible and thinking about each other. So I did have a point. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And that was a great point about caring for each other that we're all about. And I think we've had a great, fun conversation tonight.
Here.
It's always awesome to get to hang out with you guys for a little bit and do it often.
Quick plug. If anybody has any questions that we haven't already answered, save them for August
11th at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, where you're going to go to Reddit, because everybody's on Reddit, right?
Everybody.
So go on over to Reddit, and we're going to be hosting an AMA session where folks get to ask us anything. and we'll all be on there. So if you ask a question and it's ambiguous who you're asking it, we're all just going to answer. You'll get 6 answers. It'll be great. And so check that out. That's in less than 2 weeks. It's on Tuesday, August 11th. And I'm really excited for that. So bring your best questions.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, so keep an eye on whatever your favorite channel is, whether it's the Facebooks or the Instagrams or even the Twitters, or this channel here on Twitch or on YouTube, and we'll try to get all that information out because there's a lot of fun stuff coming up in the run-up to the release of No Time for Enemies. It releases on August 14th.
NTFE!
2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
God, that looks delicious, Pharaoh.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Real quick, Tuesday night, this week's your favorite rappers will be dedicated to Malik B.
For sure. Oh yeah.
The other MC, originally from the Roots, the only guy that's ever gone, bar for bar with Black Thought for 4 albums and stayed with him. We lost him this week, and that hit kind of hard. That hit kind of hard. Here in Philly, like a lot of cats that I know knew Malik, and I got a chance to chill with him. That one hurts. So this Tuesday, a Malik B retrospective on your favorite rappers.
All
right. Tune in.
Yep.
And thank you everybody for hanging out with us on this stream.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Appreciate it, folks.